Greetings to our people. Shalom, shalom, peace and blessings, family. My students, guys, this is our very last class. I hope that everybody has enjoyed the Shalom Health tutorials, some of our live discussions, have learned a lot and been able to share with others. That's what this is all about. It's also about progression. It's also about getting you guys to become your own chemist, become your own herbalist. And that's what I have set in store for our next semester. Our next semester is going to be on advanced herbal courses. And I hope that everyone can really benefit to that. But some of you guys may not be able to get in those courses unless you have graduated from the previous Shalom Health tutorials. Now, there's a lot that we have done. I have over about maybe 28 classes out there, lectures out there. This semester was only about 10. Some of us has done some homework and some of us has not. So I will be sending out certificates to those who have really took heed to the information and has been participating fully. So this lecture is all about fungus versus viruses. Now, I didn't plan so much on it because I was supposed to get some candida tests from you guys. It's a spit test that I sent out for your homework assignments. That way we can really talk about it. But now I can't really so much talk about it. So I'm just going to go over what I know and what I can share about these two things. Now, fungus is pretty much categorized in two different categories. I would say it's a fungi, and it's categorized into decomposers. That means they like to eat on dead things. Decomposers. And then we got parasites that like to have dead things, and they like to eat on living things. But mainly, I've talked a lot about parasites. We can go back to the old video that I did on parasites, but some of the fungi does act like fungi. Some of them act like mold and yeast. Candida is actually a yeast or a mold, a fungus inside of the body. And Candida makes albicans, which are just these little spores that surround a certain area of the mucous membrane. And they can spread throughout the whole body. And I kind of want to relate this to how the forest has these mushrooms all over it. And these spores actually are being let out from the fungi of that mushroom. And out in the atmosphere, it's able to penetrate into the air, or it's able to go into the water. It's not just the ground here. It's just not the ground. It's on the bark of trees, in the water as well. So it builds up the spores are like seed-like structures. And they penetrate within the ground or the water, wherever. And they build up this hyphae. That's what these little things are here. And that's when they start to penetrate into the ground. And these areas are more like how it's allowing the enzymes to work and activate and absorbing the nutrients from the ground. And the moisture, so you know that mushrooms like to grow in moist, damp, very dark areas. They're not photosynthetic at all. They're feeding on the host of minerals and all those different things inside the cell. So you can kind of look at this situation as this is the ground, and this you can see that the spores of the mycelium, and some of this bacteria that is used is called mycozyri. I probably looked that word up. I talked about it when we was in our last seminar. But it's a bacteria that allows this mycelium to accumulate. And when you think about the mushroom, it always has like a little head up there, like a fruiting. That's what I mean by it starts to appear when a fruiting starts to occur. All right. And the spores are still, the mycelium is still in there in every mushroom. And we can't look at mushrooms as they have certain benefits now. They do have good healing properties, but some of them are poisonous. And this is how we can look at our skin too. We can look at the internal parts of our dermis having a fungus that has penetrated into the skin. People that have eczema, people that have yeast infections on the skin is basically an eczema. Psoriasis is a fungus in the scalp or anywhere in the body. These are places where these lumps or bumps may pop up. Could be a sarcoma, could be a melanoma, or a boil. Any of those type of things always have some type of angiogenesis. Now, the good thing about mushrooms, I've learned that they do have this anti-angiogenesis effect. So they are able to work and combat against these type of cancers or lumps or bumps that we see. They work against those inside of the body. But when we have these funguses, they work different from bacteria. They also have to fight each other on which one they're going to feed, bacteria or the fungus. And usually you can get rid of bacteria within three weeks. But with the fungus, it takes a lot longer. It takes about 3 months to 6 months to get rid of a full fungus. Now, I gave you guys that Candida spit test to see if you had Candida spores in your spit. You put a cup of water and you make up some spit and you spit into that glass of water. And after a while, if you see strings or spores starts to form, you'll know that you're more prevalent towards Candida or not. You might want to go ahead and do that. So this is a lot like cancer. So if anybody says a fungus could be cancer, they're pretty much true. It's pretty much true. Now, one of the things that makes this fungus spread is when there's a lot of estrogen inside the body. It works with that hormone because estrogen likes to build up growth. So a woman that may have a yeast infection is more susceptible to having these spores of Candida albicans in the vaginal wall. So this can be anywhere, guys. This can be on a thrush on the tongue. It can be fungus, mold. I want you to think about mildew. You could think about the mold that may be on the wall, on the side of the bathtub, even on your shower curtains. The mildew, you probably would think, why would something eat the plastic, right? But the mildew is living off of that plastic because it's made out of an organic substance. The organic substance is plastic, it's petroleum. So all plastic is made out of oil. So basically, that's what the fungus or the mold is going to eat on. So they need something organic, a wholesale, so they can feed on. So all fungus, all molds, all yeast have it's on the outside of the cell. It's using the cell. Actually, I drew it over here. Now, I just drew this up about 30 minutes ago trying to get you guys prepared, but the fungus is around the cell and it's growing. It's using the cell mitochondria as a host to make the fungus grow even more. So this is a little different from a virus. The virus actually is on the inside of the cell. It gets inside of the DNA. Now, you can call these intracellular parasites. You can call them because they do some real tricky stuff inside of the cell. I'm kind of going to try to explain it to you right here. So the virus hides. We can talk about herpes. We can talk about cytomegalovirus, Epstein-Barr virus, HIV virus. Some of these viruses have a way to replicate themselves because they have other enzymes that they carry in. So just say this is the cold and flu virus that wants to enter the cell. And this is an internal parasite as well. So they carry a capsid. This pink area is a capsid. Let me write this down. This is a capsid. And once this gets inside of the cell, the way that they get inside the cell is that they either swallow inside of the cell, like a cell ingestion. It kind of like diffuses this bilayers into each other. I wish I had a picture to really show you guys. And this also can happen if the cell has these receptors on the side of it, because it's hiding inside of there. These receptors line up with the other cell's receptors, and now it can inject this DNA inside of the cytoplasm. Now, once they're inside of the cytoplasm, we have these ribosomes up in here. They're everywhere, and they're using the actual DNA as a way to make copies. So once it can get inside of there, it uses the enzymes. This enzyme called DNA polymerase. And it once it gets inside of the nucleus here, it can then open up your DNA and actually substitute its DNA inside of that DNA. Okay? And then from there, it proliferates, it makes more, and before long, you will have a whole bunch of their DNA inside of your cell. And as they get more and more inside of that cell, it actually breaks through the cell. And it's called a lytic cycle. You can go look up the lytic cycle. You'll find out a lot more about it. It breaks through the cell, causing a lysis of that cell. And then therefore on, it makes a capsid of its own, because this may be like the herpes virus. It makes its own capsid, makes its own bilayer, and able to hide from the other immune cells that wants to kill it off. You got to be able to break through that bilayer. Now, there's another cycle called the lysogenic cycle, where they use the transcriptase, reverse transcriptase within like retroviruses and things like that, like HIV. It's very, very tricky. They go up and down the DNA, making duplicates of itself, and on and on and on and on and on. So very, very, very interesting way to explain how the viruses actually work. So, guys, I just wanted to talk about what I know about how viruses and funguses, how they relate. Viruses can infect the bacteria. It can also infect the funguses. So it can start the proliferation of those fungus. So don't think that viruses are, it's nothing like, it's this small, guys. It's like 200 nanometers in size. So a virus is smaller than an angstrom size than those seed-like structures of those spores. It's smaller than that. So you can almost see this over here when it comes to the bacteria, fungus, and all those things. But you'll never be able to see this on the, even so microscopically, it's on a nanometer size. So look up the word angstrom. That's how plants get their nutrients inside of their roots and everything, inside of these myceliums for mushrooms. That's how they get their nutrients. I think that's about it so far. I know I talked a lot about all these different things. It's a lot to learn, guys. So this is live. I just wanted to say thank you guys for listening. You have made a big change in the way that I teach and everything.